Hello, this is the Captain Paxo, back with some Dark Souls 1 of all things. Just sort of playing it and leading up to the hype for Dark Souls Remastered. I'm really looking forward to it. I spent about 4 hours last night just re-watching old Dark Souls 1 PvP from like Seraphim 17 and Sunlight Blade and stuff, and it's just... I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Get away from me, Ghost. So I thought I'd just record what I was doing in Dark Souls, because it's hype. I'm ready and waiting. I wouldn't expect a full playthrough of Dark Souls 1. I'm going to do a full playthrough of Dark Souls Remastered, though. I think it just deserves it, you know? Ow. Alright, that's one down. Ooh, almost got grabbed. And I'm dead. Starts recording, instantly dies. Great. What am I mainly looking forward to in the remaster? Well, I'm mainly looking forward to the PvP, obviously. If you spent long enough time on my channel, you'll notice that I have quite a lot of Dark Souls 3 PvP videos. And that would... I've been wanting to do Dark Souls 1 PvP videos for probably since 2012, maybe, mid-2012. When I first saw them on YouTube and I was like, I want to do that. But, never really got the chance to. Until now, if I wanted to do them right now. But I think I'll save them for once the remaster comes out. It seems like a good time to start doing that. But of course, because I'm a PvPer, I think I have a different expectation for the remaster than people who aren't PvPers per se. Like, for people who just want to play the story and experience the game as a game and just ignore the PvP aspect, I think those people are just expecting like graphical updates, a few quality of life changes, like the being able to switch your Covenant to Bonfire, which I believe was confirmed, and like being able to use multiple soul items at once. Stuff like that. But for PvPers, that's where the community just divides. It just explodes into a mess of people's opinions of what should be changed, what shouldn't be changed, because Dark Souls has always had this amazing community where, in terms of the PvP, there's just so much to love and so much to hate. It's really strange. Everybody has a different opinion on absolutely every aspect of the PvP. Backstabs, parries, roll BS's, well, that's part of backstabs, isn't it? Poise, toggle escape, reverse roll, magic, the rings, just everything, absolutely anything and everything, someone has an opinion on it, and they might not have the same opinion as you. In fact, they probably won't have the same opinion as you. For example, I'm under the opinion that the toggle escape should return in Dark Souls Remastered. The toggle escape being where if you get stunned, you can toggle your weapon and it will get you out of the stun. I'm of the belief that that should exist in Dark Souls 1 Remastered because it makes zero poise builds viable. If it doesn't exist, then people have to stack poise if they don't want to get stun locked, right? But if you have this technique where you can just toggle through it, let's see if I can demonstrate it here. Nah, I'm a bit of a fail. And a fail again, and I'm gonna die. But if you can toggle out of it, if you can toggle out of a stun, then you don't need poise per se, and it makes way for zero poise builds, which is what a guy called Yami Tamashi did a lot of in Dark Souls 1, and it would just be super awesome to see that sort of stuff return. Because like I said, if the toggle escape is removed, then we have to rely on poise to prevent stunlock. Right? And I just don't think that's particularly healthy for the game. And also, just because there's like this big old debate around toggle escape, I think that's also pretty healthy for the community as well. It's healthy for people to have opposing views about certain topics. It's healthy to have a discussion about it, a debate. Not so much a heated argument. That stuff's just kind of cancerous, if I'm honest, but where people are just yelling insults at each other, that doesn't help anyone. But to have a discussion about it where you can say, well, here's what I think, here are my views, here's how I think it actually helps the game and why it's a good thing, and here's why someone else thinks that it's not so much of a good idea, and thinks that maybe it should be removed. It's just, the more things that you can talk about in a video game, the healthier that community can be, because there's going to be more discussion surrounding the game. The game's more in depth and all of that sort of stuff. It's just, I don't know. But it is definitely an unintended feature, which means that maybe like it wasn't intended in the game. There we go, that's what I was looking for. So therefore it should be removed. And I can see like why people don't like these unintended features per se. Oh my god, that deals so much more damage. But for me, it's like, it just adds more depth to the game. I don't actually know if the toggle escape is confirmed or not. I have hope that it is going to be in the remastered, but I'm terrified it's not going to be. I'm terrified because the team that's making the remaster are removing a lot of bugs and features, or not features, but they're removing a lot of bugs and glitches from the game, and, well, lo and behold, the toggle escape is a bug. Well, unintended feature, but you get the idea. Thing is, though, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that the reverse roll is in the game. The reverse roll being a technique where I can't pull it off. I need a lot of practice, and I was pretty bad with it to begin with, so trying to do it whilst talking is not going to happen. But it's a technique where you can do a roll, or rather a backwards roll. Let's see. Ow. The animation where you roll backwards when you're locked on, you can do that and it will pull you towards the enemy. I'm getting fucked here. Let me pull out something a bit better to deal with these schmucks. But it's a technique that allows you to close the distance and get behind someone, simultaneously face their back, and be able to roll backstab. It's just a very efficient way to roll backstab. But some people don't like it because it's an unintended feature and it does give you an advantage. I think it's fine to be in the game because it deepens the skill gap. Higher skilled players will be able to pull it off, and I don't think it confers that big of an advantage, because if you know how to roll backstab, then you don't really need to reverse roll. The reverse roll just makes it a little bit easier, but people who can roll backstab will still be able to roll backstab regardless of if it's in the game or not. You know, it's just having it in increases the skill gap, yada yada yada. But the reverse roll is thanks to just the way that Dark Souls works, the way that the animations play out, and the way that the game interacts with lock-on. The toggle escape is due in part to how Dark Souls prioritizes animations. It prioritizes you switching your weapon over prioritizing you getting stunned. These guys have been giving me a little bit of trouble today, which is why I was farming the Jagged Ghostblade, because I was like, I need a stronger weapon than the rapier. Ow! And that's what I got. I got the Jagged Ghostblade. This build is an intelligence build, in case you haven't surmised. Starting off as a mage is very difficult, in my opinion. Ah, no! He's one hit away. God damn it. Oh, wait. I'm a magician. There we go. Simples. It's so hard to start out as a sorcerer. The magic in this game starts out very, very weak, and the class itself starts out with a goddamn dagger. You know? Doesn't have great, like, overall stats. I've bumped it up to 20 dexterity, and it can be very difficult to survive as a sorcerer to begin with, but magic gets, obviously, incredibly powerful, in the late game, which is why there was so many, like, Havel mages and stuff. That's why Dark Bead was everywhere, and Crystal Soul Spear, and all sorts of crazy stuff, you know? It's because it was really... It was just so powerful. You know? Oh, dear. Greetings. Learn gesture. That's all I care about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Dark Souls remaster because it means I get to do a lot of beep 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 clips. Gonna be a lot of commentaries and a lot of build videos and stuff like that. I don't really fancy myself a montage maker. I have dabbled in them in the past, and I probably will do them for Dark Souls remastered. But I don't know. I like talking too much. Hence why this video is still going, because I like talking. It's like my favorite thing in the world to do. Alright. Quick rest up at the bonfire. I'm gonna level up. I don't know what I want to level up. I need health. I need survivability. Great. A whopping 600. Do I have any twinkling? I do have some twinkling, so I could upgrade this Jagged Ghost Blade, but I don't know. Ow. Oh my god, it does so much damage. No wonder it's fairly popular for SL1 builds. Ooh. That was the wrong button. That was the right button, and I missed anyway. There we go. Speaking of SL1 builds, I recently saw... Well, this is actually what sparked my interest back into the Dark Souls franchise after my blatant fatigue with it. I saw a video by a guy called Project Goof. He's a fantastic PvPer, and if you're interested in Dark Souls 3 PvP, you should really check him out. He knows how to backstab in a game where backstabs are not particularly easy to pull off. It's absolutely amazing to watch him at work, you know. But he recently made a video on playing Dark Souls 1, because he's never played Dark Souls 1 before, so it was really interesting to see him go into Dark Souls 1 and just try out a bunch of things and not really know what's going on, trying to find his feet. He's got experience in other Souls games, like Dark Souls 2 and 3, but he's not experienced in Dark Souls 1 at all, so it's been really interesting, or it was really interesting to watch him just learn how the game plays and how different it feels and all that. Out of here. And he was sort of doing that in preparation for Dark Souls Remastered, and he decided to do an SL1 build to kind of challenge himself. And I gotta give him props right there. Like, he's the first, for his very first playthrough of Dark Souls 1, and he's doing a Soul Level 1 run. Like, my god. Ow. Get out of here. Chug some Sunny D. But you gotta give him props for that. Like, as much as I've played Dark Souls 1, I have never done an SL1 run. I tried it a couple times, but I didn't find it particularly interesting. Like, all it did was increase the amount of time it took for me to kill stuff. And it reduced the amount of times I could get punished, which, sure, great, whatever, but that's not my idea of fun. I could do it, I really could, but I just don't find it particularly interesting. Personally, anyway. It's interesting to watch because some people are just very good at Dark Souls. Oh boy. Yeah, fuck tables, I agree. Here's a cool little tidbit that I have only recently learned. I think I always knew it in the back of my mind, but I've only just, like, really thunk about it. But the alternative kick attacks, like the backflip spin attack with the curved sword, or the kind of hop back thrust attack with the rapier, they don't bounce off of stuff. They don't bounce off of walls, they don't bounce off of iron skin. At least I don't think so. I was just thinking, like, that's just a really interesting property for these moves to have that no other moves in the game have. Well, apart from the jump attack, which I failed magnificently at right there. Ooh, dogs. How do I deal with dogs? Well, I do have a... Actually, that's a lie. I can't block with a parrying dagger. What was I thinking? God, it's not like the Dark Moon Knightus, Lautrec, and Oswald of Kareem can block with the parrying dagger or anything. So I've no idea why I would think I could block with the parrying dagger. God, what an idiot, right? Whew. Basically just decided, like, I'm gonna be the first one to hit. I'm just gonna mash through this. I don't care. I need the residence key, don't I? Oh, I have it. Oh dear. Yay! Duplicate set of armor. Much obliged. Now give me your spells. Alright. Alright. Wow. This is about to get interesting. Can I poke through this? Oh, I could. But only with the first. Although it's probably going to force them to heal. Or at least that's what I was hoping. Because if you can't kill them with the initial jump attack, but you can hit them, or you just hit them with whatever, sometimes it forces them to heal, which gives you a little bit of breathing room in that encounter. Praise the sun! Praise the sun! Oh my god, I love this game. Oh, that was dumb. Ooh. Whoop. There we go. Give me your gear. It's very rare, but very good looking. I almost had a heart attack there. I thought I was getting invaded. I was like, oh shit. I'm not prepared for an invasion. Oh wait, it's just the boss fault. Whoops. Oh dear. Ooh, yeah, I picked up the Elite Knight armor. Let's put on something a bit more fashionable. It's a bit more fashionable, it's not much. But what can you do? I do not have confidence in beating Capra Demon without a shield on my first try. I'm not my friend. Who I'm still not sure I believe actually did manage to do it on his first try, but hey, those were his words, not mine. I never use magic as, like, magic. I always use it as a backup and not as like a primary means of damage. Because, well, like I've previously stated, it's just not strong enough in the early game. And then in the late game, there's a lot of stuff that's really resistant to magic, like all of the crystal enemies in Duke's Archives. You know, so yeah, it's difficult. For the Dark Souls Remastered playthrough, I was thinking of doing like a bow build, like just going pure bow, or mostly using a bow, and if need be, swap out. Because I have done a playthrough previously, not like recorded, but just a regular casual playthrough of the game, where I did use the bow as like my primary means of damage. It's surprisingly good. It genuinely is surprisingly good, and I do not have enough souls to really do much. The curse of being a caster is like, do I spend my souls on leveling up, or do I spend my souls on, well, whoops. Talk to me. Yes, I have changed my mind. The only time that you need to say no is when you're speaking to Laurentius. It's the only time you need to say no in this game. Every other time, you just say yes. Full control is interesting. I want to mess around with that at some point. Magic weapon, very good. Lingering Dragon Crest, Bellowing Dragon Crest. Very powerful, but very expensive. I need to test some stuff with the Lingering Dragon Crest, actually. Namely, how does it affect miracles? Because in Dark Souls 3, it did affect miracles. You could use, let me think. Right, tune magic weapon. But yeah, it affected miracles in Dark Souls 3. And the main reason why that was so important is for one of my builds, my Blessed build, I used stuff like Blessed Weapon and Replenishment, and that was pretty much the crux of the build. Without those spells, that build was pretty worthless. There was nothing really fancy about it, you know. And I needed those spells to last as long as possible to give me as much survivability as possible. And the Lingering Dragon Crest Ring really helped with that. So I need to test that out in Dark Souls 1, see if it does affect miracles, because if it does affect miracles, then you can guarantee that that build that I did in Dark Souls 3 is going to be returning in Dark Souls 1. Actually, funny story about that. The inspiration from that build was drawn from one of Sunlight Blade's top 10s. It was the top 10 most creative builds for Dark Souls 1. It was the number 9 spot by, I think it was like Sniper Knight or something. His Golden Knight build, where you just stack all of the regen items in the game all together with like Replenishment, the Sanctus Shield, and what's it called? The Server. The sort of quality but mostly dexterity curved greatsword, the lesser version of the Murakumo. It gives lifesteal per on hit. Oh. Get out of here, scrubbers. But it gave lifesteal on hit, and what ended up happening is you had this really powerful health regen build. Let me focus for a little bit. Or not. Wow! Ugh. Pancaked into oblivion, huh? I hate that that's that one dog. What he does just differs every single time. Sometimes he stays there for a split second and Capra hits you first, but sometimes he runs down, taps you, and then Capra hits you almost immediately afterwards. Very frustrating. But anyway, I made that build in Dark Souls 1 in my own kind of way. Modified it a little bit and had some lighter armor and whatnot. And I mostly used it in PvE. I didn't really use it too much in PvP, but I did really enjoy it. You know, I enjoyed just soaking up a ton of damage and not really having to worry about, you know, taking too much damage. It saved Estus, which is probably the most powerful part about the entire build, which is why when I made it in Dark Souls 3, it very quickly became my favourite build in Dark Souls 3, because in that game, with the PvP, just the way that it kind of works, when you're fighting a gank situation, either you have to kill the gankers incredibly quickly and efficiently, or you have to rely on out-healing them or out-damaging them. You had to rush their health or their Estus. Basically, you had to get rid of all of their Estus before they got rid of all of your Estus. And, well, with your health constantly regenerating, you don't have to use your Estus as much. So that was a massive boon. Not this time. Get out. Two. Keep a little bit of stamina. I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter recently, in case you hadn't noticed, and you don't use stamina for attacks in that game. Well, that's not entirely true. You do use stamina for 1 or 2 attacks, but for the most part, no. You don't use stamina for attacks in that game. So it's very different to come to Dark Souls and find that actually everything requires stamina, and quite a hefty amount of it as well. It's a resource that you really have to manage, or else you're gonna find yourself getting screwed. Alright. Let's do some magic stuff. That works pretty well. That didn't. Lock on. And having played a lot of Monster Hunter, by God does that game do lock on so much better than this game does. But then that game just has better camera controls. You can move your camera a heck of a lot faster, but even if you don't really use your camera so much, when you lock onto an enemy, you don't per se lock onto it in the same style as you do in Dark Souls. You target the monster, and then whenever you tap L1, it just refocuses the camera on the monster. It doesn't lock the camera on the monster. You're not having like the camera rotate around the monster, but it just points the camera in the direction of the monster, of where it is in that instance that you tap L1. You have to turn that option on in the options menu, otherwise it does just become a Dark Souls lock-on, which is god-awful in that game. But it's still fantastic that that's actually a thing that you can do. Oh, hi. Alright. Whoop. Oof. That was scary. I didn't think he was going to do the third hit. Get out of here, doggo. Zombie doggo. Oh, ragdoll. Ragdoll like it's meant to be. Like, as stupid as it possibly can be. God, I've missed that. Do we explore the depths further? I've got some shit weapons. Oh, we might as well free Laurentius. Hit the wrong button. No. Ooh, another humanity. Huge manatees. No, let's free Laurentius first. I don't want to accidentally die. And not get something out of it. There you go, you're alive now. Now you can give me some pyromancy. Huzzah! Actually, how good's magic against this person? Whoops. Oh, it's alright. It's decent. Ooh, that was a bleed. And there's the sack. Oh, do I push forward or do I not push forward? I don't know. I got a lot of souls and I could really do with upgrading my weapons. So yeah. Could also maybe do with getting some better sorceries. Excuse me?
Oh, hello. Well,
you said something about something and I kind of skipped through it like a schmuck. Great heavy soul arrow does a shit ton of damage, but it doesn't have a lot of casts. Full control. How many slots is that? One? Sure, why not? Give it a go. I don't really use magical that often anyway. Might as well do as much damage when I do.
Alright.
Cheers, mate. I am very much looking forward to a lot of overpowered stuff again. Honestly. Well, it's not really the overpowered stuff, it's more the variety. Because that was one of the... That was the biggest problem that deterred me from playing a lot of Dark Souls 3, is that just everyone was running with curved swords and straight swords. You know, there was barely any variety. You didn't see people using hammers, you didn't see people using great axes or anything like that. And granted, I only played during the early days of Dark Souls 3, and I know it got a lot better as people got better and started to understand the mechanics a bit better and all of that sort of good stuff, but man did it get stale fast. And it got very frustrating very quickly as well, especially as an invader, constantly running into gank situations where you just can't really win because you're bad. Here's an interesting thought, and something that I didn't really think about too much. I mentioned before I watched that, I watched the video by Project Goof that kind of got me inspired to play Dark Souls 1 again. He mentioned in that game that in Dark Souls 3, it's a lot easier for casuals or for bad players to do well, whereas in Dark Souls, the game is a lot more punishing. People who know the game well are going to be able to beat up on bad players that much easier. Well, it wasn't really those exact words, but it was words to that effect. It was essentially like Dark Souls is more punishing, it's a lot harder, the systems are a lot more, like, concrete, and you can get punished a lot more for your mistakes. And I just thought, I didn't think about that. the fact that Dark Souls 3 kind of compressed the skill gap a little bit. That's something I never really touched in my critique of Dark Souls 3 PvP, which that was a terrible name for that video. Like, honest to God, if I could redo that video again, I would probably change the name. And I know I could change it right now. What am I doing? Upgrading weapon. I could change it now, but I kind of want to have it stay as it is. Stay what it was. Kind of be like, this was my mindset at the time. Because it was. I hated the PvP for Dark Souls 3. I despised it. I couldn't stand it. It was the worst thing in the world to me. There was just nothing I hated more than Dark Souls 3 PvP, other than Dark Souls 1 PvE. Because, oh, I do not like that game. Let's use this one. That's probably enough, right? Well. There we go. But yeah, that was a bit of a mistake titling that video, Why Dark Souls 3 PvP Sucks. Because when you title a video with such a negative tone towards something, people are going to click on it and immediately assume your stance. They're going to immediately assume that you hate Dark Souls, that you're just bad at the game and you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to get very defensive and they're not going to want to listen to anything that you have to say. And I learnt that because someone put a very stupid comment on that video, which basically just read, "I didn't watch this video." Wah, wah, wah. You're a crybaby. Which was very upsetting to me, because it's like, if they had watched the video, they made like 4 or 5 points. If they'd watched the video, I actually talked about each one of those points. He said, "Don't you want a challenge in Dark Souls?" And in the video, at about like 3 minutes in, I think it was, I said, like, I get that Dark Souls is meant to be challenging, but this is like brutally unfair or something like that. So, you know, if you're going to leave a comment, the least you can do is watch the video all the way through. Do I need to kill the character? Do I need to spare him? The real question is, do I give a shit about his armor? Oh, fuck it. Oh, shit. Oh, Christ. Admit that to Sunlight Blade top 10 fails. Oh, wow. Okay. Haven't done that one before. Oh, fuck. Oh, what was I talking about? Ah, yeah, just watching a video all the way through before you leave a comment, because chances are they're going to bring up something that you were going to talk about. They're going to bring it up and you're going to be like, okay, now I understand your stance. I'm going to make a different comment. I'm going to say, well, I initially thought this, but you said this, and now I think this. You know? But the responsibility isn't wholly on the part of the commenter. I mean, it mostly is. They're the one making a stupid-ass comment. It's their responsibility to not make a stupid-ass comment and actually leave something... anything that isn't stupid, I guess? You know? And he's gone. Well, I decided on not killing him anyway. Oh, bugger. Which way am I going? Do I want to go through the depths? Through Blighttown? That's the way I normally go. Is there a rush for me to go to Blighttown? I want to check something, actually. Because I summoned Beatrice for the Moonlight Butterfly. And I know you need to do that to get the armor. Like, you don't need to summon her for the Four Kings, but you definitely need to summon her for the Moonlight Butterfly to get her armor to spawn. But I think it only appears once you've defeated the Four Kings. But I want to check it, just to see if that is the case. But you get what I mean, right? But then, like, some of the responsibility is on the content creator to not make a title to a video that is immediately divisive for your audience. You know, it is not there. Okay. Because a while back, I saw a video by a guy called Gay for Games, and if you know his videos, then good God, well, you know they are pretty they're pretty heated titles. Like, they're titles that grab your attention. They're very clickbaity, all capitals, but most importantly, they're titles that when you read them, you're kind of like, hang on a minute, that's like, no. Like, shut up. Fuck off. But I think he does that. Well, it is clickbait, because it does get people to click on the video. The problem is that people don't click on the video to watch the video. They click on the video to immediately dislike it and leave a nasty comment and then leave. Because that is the problem that you have when you make a title that is just that divisive. Like, oh, this sucks, or this is awful, or if you like this, you're a scrub, or something like that. It immediately puts people on the defensive. And when they're, like I said, when they're on the defensive, they're less likely to listen to your explanations, your reasoning, and they're more likely to just call you a faggot and leave. You know? So, lesson learnt, right there. Note to self. Don't title videos that stupid. But yeah, I am leaving the title as is, because it really does resemble my mindset back when playing Dark Souls 3, because I really did not like that game. I didn't like the roll speed. I didn't like how Invasion prioritizes worlds with phantoms. I didn't like that Reds left their bloodstains where they died in the host's world as opposed to where they were summoned in your world, like it always has been. I didn't like how the Lloyds work. I didn't like how you only got like 5 or something, however many it was. I think it was 5. It was a ungodly low amount of Lloyds to deal with like 3 players. Can I sneak past this dude? I can sneak past this dude. How about that? Poke. But there were a lot of things that I didn't like. I didn't like the stun locking. I didn't like a lot of the combos. Some of the weapon arts I was okay with. Some of them I didn't like. I really did not like the meta of the curved swords and the straight swords. I thought that was just awful. Can I lock onto that? Nope. Damn it. That's an unintended feature as well. Being able to mash the bumpers and take reduced damage from grabs. That, as far as I can tell, was not intended. And you almost killed me. God damn. Sorcerer, you start with such low survivability. God, it's so difficult in the early game. It gets so much easier in the later game, but oh my god, does it start off slow. That's the thing, is there's a lot of unintended features in Dark Souls, because that's just the way it works. You know, so if you want to get rid of one unintended feature, then it kind of has to be all or nothing in my eyes. Some people are advocating for like weapon swapping, spell swapping, spell cancelling, and it's very difficult to be like, okay, we should remove this but not this, because if you remove one of them, then why not remove all of them? You know, because they're all unintended features. It comes down to the judgment of individual players. Some people hate spell cancelling, they think it should be removed, but again, I think, well, it just deepens the skill gap, doesn't it? Makes the game a heck of a lot more interesting. You can fake people out and stuff like that. The problem that I get to is when people get a serious advantage, like with spell swapping. You can use spells, like you can use Covenant spells whilst not having to be in that Covenant. So for example, you can use Dark Moon Blade, which normally you have to be in the Blaze of the Dark Moon to be able to use, but you'll be able to use it when you're in, say, the Sunbros, thanks to spell swapping. And you can also get infinite castings thanks to spell swapping as well. So it just creates this pretty nasty environment of just being able to use some ridiculously powerful stuff without any caveats, you know. But then of course, when it's like, okay, this person is getting a distinct advantage, that also brings into question, okay, well, what about toggle escape? Because that brings with it a distinct advantage as well. Like, you can't get stun locked even with 0 poise, because you can just toggle out of that. Is that not a distinct advantage? Is that not overpowered? And to that I kind of think, well, stun locking, no, toggle escape only punishes people who mash R1, just like the setup parry, just like the poise parry, and just like the poise backstab. All of this stuff just severely punishes R1 mashers. Now, if you're just going to mash R1, then you have to expect that you're going to get taken out by someone who knows what they're doing at some point. You can't just mash R1 and expect to win. That's not what this game is. Oh, what did that just happen? Get out of here, you rats. Damn dirty rats. Oh, fuck. Get out of here. Guys, it's gonna be nice to have this game look really good, because I don't have DS Fix installed. I could have gotten some texture mods, but my experience with modding on PC has been, well, a bit shit, to say the least. I've tried modding Starbound, and that's been okay, and it's alright. It can be a little bit finicky. Some mods work, some mods don't. That's all part of the process, though. But it is a bit of a shame when some mods are like super cool and you really want to use them, but it's like, now you can't use them because of this, or it just doesn't work for some reason. This guy's a bit scary. Time for the cheese ball strats. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen. Come here. And get out. But then when trying to mod Minecraft, that is an absolute mess and a half. I've given up trying to mod that. I tried to install Factory, and for that I think you have to install the Twitch browser. I couldn't find another way of getting Sky Factory other than using the Twitch browser, but Twitch browser didn't work for me. It opens up, it opens a blank page, a blank screen, and well, yeah, it doesn't do anything. So I kind of gave up on that idea. Honestly, modding Skyrim has been the best experience because I just use the in-game modding browser with the Skyrim Special Edition, which doesn't give you the best mods. Like, some of the mods are a bit shit. And there are way better mods on, like, or what is it called? The Nexus. But it does give you some half-decent mods. Mods that are sufficient enough to enhance your experience of the game. So I'm okay with it. Basically what I'm saying is, like, I could have modded Dark Souls, but I probably would have buggered it up real good. I'm not particularly tech savvy. Out of here, rat. Alright, Gaping Dragon. What an absolute bore fest, unfortunately. It's a cool boss, but it's just not particularly interesting. There's nothing it really does that is that threatening. But thankfully, let's do magic weapon, I guess. Alright. Oh. Oh, that's got range. Okay. Hey, it surprised me. Fucking rapiers. I love the rapier. I find it to be an extremely fun weapon. Just in its, like, simplistic moveset, there's kind of a lot you can do with it. I like its heavy attacks as well. Just a big old thrust. Because most people use stuff like the S-Lock, so you don't really see it all that often. Or Rickard's rapier. So it's one of those weapons that you don't see all that often, which is why I like using it. I'm someone who really likes to use stuff that a lot of people don't use. I don't know what it is about me. I think it's like, you know, people use what's really strong, and, you know, for obvious reasons. Like, it's incredibly strong, they're attracted to that. But then they don't spend time experimenting and finding stuff that is actually pretty good. I'm trying to bleed Gaping Dragon. I don't think it's possible. It's confirmed Gaping Dragon doesn't have blood. He is a vampire. Oh, shoot. Come on. Hurry up and die. There you go. But when you experiment with different strategies and different weapons and stuff like that, you can actually end up finding some extremely powerful stuff that people just don't really expect, and they'll see it and be like, "That how is that working? That's crazy. You're using something that is just not that good," and you can turn around and be like, "Actually, it is very good. You just have to put some time and effort into it," you know? I want to spend these souls before I die. I have enough for a lingering dragon crest or a bellowing dragon crest. Let's get the bellowing. I also want to level up, but it's like, ooh, level up, spells. God, being a mage is so expensive. I can level up once though, and still have enough. But yeah, I have to encourage people to experiment, because you might find the next meta. You know, you might find the next overpowered setup. You might find the next thing that everybody loves and starts using. You might find something that's actually incredibly powerful and manages to piss the world off twice over, you know? You never know if you just follow what's the meta, you know? And I might make a future PvP commentary about that. I got a lot of ideas for future PvP commentaries, because much like Monster Hunter, Dark Souls is a game where you could just talk about it for hours on end. You could talk about it until the end of time itself, you know? Get out of here. And I think that's evident with just the amount of amazing content creators that there are for Dark Souls 1. You know? Which is one of the reasons why I'm super excited for the remaster, because there's been a lot of super amazing content creators that have made a lot of super awesome videos for Dark Souls 3, but they haven't done anything for Dark Souls 1. So it'll be super interesting to see what they're going to do with Dark Souls 1. Along with all the people who did do a lot of Dark Souls 1 content but maybe stopped because, I don't know, Dark Souls 2 and 3 sucked. Just an opinion. Stop that. But maybe some people who did Dark Souls 1 content stopped doing Dark Souls content because they didn't like Dark Souls 2 or 3 like I didn't. But then with the remaster, maybe they'll start up again, you know? Who knows? But what I do know is that there's going to be an explosion of content once Dark Souls Remastered drops. Like, there's going to be so many people covering PvP. It's going to be an absolute clusterfuck. Like, I can imagine my content getting lost in just everything else. Well, there two things are going to happen when I start doing Dark Souls 1 Remastered. The first is that I just get drowned in the sea of amazing content creators, and I can kind of feel okay about myself because I'm getting beat out by people who just make better videos than I do. Or my channel is going to explode as well, and I have absolutely no idea which one is going to happen. Probably the former, where I'm just going to get drowned out. But you never know. I've got hopes. Alright. Give me the Bellowing Dragon Crest. Although full control could be quite fun as well. Although I have enough for both. Bellowing. Wouldn't it be funny if I bought the Lingering? I think I've told this story before, but there was one time where I was making a dex build, I think it was? I can't remember. I was making a melee build, and I was pumping endurance to try and get a bit more stamina, because I found, like, I don't have enough equipment load. I want to wear some heavier armor. I was ending up having to use, like, 0 poise armor, because I was using some heavier, well, slightly heavy shields, like a boulder shield, and maybe, like, I don't know, some straight sword or something. Basically, I was constantly ending up in mid-roll whenever I wanted to put on some heavier equipment, so I was pumping endurance, and I ended up getting it to, like, 16 endurance, and I was thinking, what is happening? Like, I still cannot fast roll. Like, this is hang on a minute. How do I have 4 attunement slots? I haven't leveled Oh, for fuck's sake. Turns out, all those points that I'd put into endurance wasn't endurance at all. I'd put 16 points into attunement. I wasn't planning on doing a a magic build either, so it was just sort of like, oh for god, fucking damn it, dude, like, ugh. That is not what I wanted. Oh, I could have gotten the spider shield. Oh well, I probably would have been medium rolling with it anyway. Alright. Let's go get the bonfire. I remember when I first started getting really into Dark Souls, and I was making a lot of builds and completing none of them because I was a scrub, as you do. I remember I pretty much relied on the Ring of Favor and Protection for the entirety of probably about 6 months, honestly. Like every build had it. Even builds that didn't really need it, I had Favor on, you know. Because I just thought it was the best ring in the goddamn world. I thought it was incredibly powerful, and it is incredibly powerful. The problem with it is that if you want to use the Ring of Favor and Protection, you have to restrict your playstyle. I don't need anything from you. You have to restrict your playstyle in the sense that you only get one spare ring slot. And if you want to wear some really heavy armor, but also fast roll, as a very loud truck passes by, you're gonna have to end up using Havels as well. And if you use both Favor and Havels, well, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? Because then you don't have any room for swapping out your rings and changing your strategy and stuff. Fuck me, dude. I hate the lock-on in this game. It is not good. But we make do. We make do with shitty controls and bad inputs and all sorts of nonsense, just because this game is fantastic. And I think that's what a lot of people have forgotten, is that, like, even though this game had horrific frame rate issues, it had a bunch of bugs and glitches, and magic was overpowered, and all sorts of other things were incredibly overpowered, and the lock-on was awful, the camera was terrible. Some of the bosses were pretty bad, especially in the late game, like Bed of Chaos, Seath the Scaleless, Nito. They just weren't very good. Even though there were all these problems with Dark Souls, we continue to love it because it is so different from everything else we've played. It's so different and so refreshing and so new and just doesn't compute. We don't know how to judge it because it's like nothing we've ever seen, and that's part of what makes it so special, is that, you know, I wish this Blow Dart guy would stop chucking knives at me. It's very distracting. Sorry, I had to be quiet there for a second because I was, well, distracted. I was occupied. But yeah, this game has so many issues and problems, but we love it anyway because it's so different. It's the same kind of thing with Monster Hunter. You know, when Monster Hunter was on the PSP or even the 3DS before the new 3DS came out and the Circle Pad Pro and all of that sort of stuff, people still love to play Monster Hunter because it's such a new and different and interesting game that you end up suffering through terrible controls and all of that sort of stuff. But this is really fucking bad. Get out. That's why I like that attack. Really closes the gap. Not that much of a gap, though. Alright. But you know, you put up with shitty controls and some questionable game design just because the game is so good. You can't really say that for many Western AAA games, let's be honest. Like Destiny? Like, come on. You stick with Destiny because it's addictive. It's addictive to get the loot. It's addictive to shoot things. You don't play it because it's a good game. You play it because it's just fun to shoot things. Whereas with Monster Hunter and Dark Souls, you play it because they're good games. And just the experience as a whole is fun, not just like one aspect of it. It's not... Well, let's just put it this way. They're not particularly shallow games, are they? Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. There's a lot to them. Hi, guy in a pot. I don't think I need to worry about you. That's a trap, but I can pick that up. Alright. That's one thing that I hope they fix in the remaster. Hang on a minute, I've come back in a big circle. Fuck. I hope that stuff doesn't automatically suck onto your item bar, because that's one thing that I really don't appreciate about Dark Souls 1. I can't see. There you go. Hey! Now we can cosplay as a sneaky ninja. Or Peeve Peeverson. Whichever came first. The chicken or the egg? I quite like Blighttown because it's a bit of a mind fuck when it comes to trying to figure out where you are and how to get to certain portions of the map safely. These dogs are tiny. Kind of remind me of the miniature Odogaron from Monster Hunter World for the Mega Man quest. Well, come on then, come down the ladder. Fucking dare you. Alright. That was close. Yeah, I dare you. I dare you to do... Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah. Oh boy. One. Get rid of two. Hey! Broken straight sword. Imminent gorgeous view. Sure. Okay, something just fell to its death. Oh, Dark Souls never change. Or in fact do change. Change for the better. Right? That's how change works. Change for the sake of change is rarely good change. Off. I believe that's something that I said in one of my Dark Souls 3 critique videos. Hi! Oh! Ah, shit. Not good. No, I don't care. I'm toxic. I need to get back to the bonfire. Ooh. Alright. Here as we go. More health. Although now I've respawned all of the enemies, which is fun. I needed to do it. Ah, bastard. Fuck off. Ah, you prick. Get out. Piss off. I thought I killed that guy. I thought that was... Oh, I'm coming for you now. Watch me not give a shit about these fire dogs. Watch me not give a shit about you. Piss off. I'm coming for you. That was a risky jump. Please tell me those things died. Oh, God. Oh, fuck me. This is where Dark Souls goes from bad to fucking bad. Excuse me. Sucker. Okay. And that is how you deal with the group. You ladder tactics them. Alright. Oh, and I guess they fell off as well. Cool. Hopefully you dropped some blooming purple moss. I'd really like to not get toxic. Oh! Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Get in the... Oh! Oh God! Where are all these guys coming from? God damn! I'm not even sure what's happening anymore. See, this is why you come down to the way you're meant to go through Blighttown. It's because it's just the stupidest, craziest, most nonsensical experience you'll ever have in this game. And you'll either have a great time or you'll just fucking hate yourself. But I think I'm having a good time. I'm having a ball. No, you do not have to listen to me singing. I am far too self-conscious of my god-awful singing voice. Alright. as cool for a powerhouse weapon. Guess I don't really need Mildred for this playthrough, since I'm not. Come here. Since I'm not going to use the butcher's knife. Oh, my favourite armor set in the game. Why didn't it return in Dark Souls 3? Why didn't it return in Dark Souls 3? Ah, oh, God. Excuse me. Coming through. Oh, hey, another unintended feature. That I hope they don't remove in the remaster. Just mashing Y whilst going through the swamp. Or it'll be triangle when I play on the PS4. I am kind of pumping vitality. But it's like, can you really blame me? I have no life. Both in the game and in real life. You know. This has been a really long play session. This is going to end up being a ridiculously long video that I'm going to have to edit down pretty significantly. But that's okay. I'm fine with doing that if it's entertaining. Which it probably isn't, because it's just me rambling, but fuck it. If you want Dark Souls content, here's your fucking Dark Souls content. Now shut up and eat it. You asked for it, you got it. Oh dear. Oh god, remember the halberd trick that you could do with the running attack in the swamp? Where it would just come out instantly? Fuck. And it was super laggy online anyway with that running attack. So if you did it in the swamp, it was ridiculous. I wonder if that'll make a return. Because again, it is kind of just thanks to the way that Dark Souls works. So maybe it will be in the remaster? Who knows? There's going to be a lot of testing that a lot of people are going to do. Like, oh, does this unintended feature work? Does this unintended feature work? The first thing that I'm going to be testing is the toggle escape. Toggle escapist for life. Even though I'm real bad at it. It's not really for me, honestly. Like, I'm sure I'll use it and I'll do a zero poise build. If it is in the game. But for the most part, it's for people who really do enjoy doing zero poise build and really do enjoy doing the toggle escape. Alright, time for Tanky Spider McGee. There were so many runs that I had where this boss really gave me a hard time just because she has so much life. Owie! And just thanks to the way that she throws the fire around it. It can take some time. Especially if you've got a shitty rapier like me. That just ran out of buff. Get out of here. Whoops. How do you miss something that big? Come over here. I gotta be careful with lingering hitboxes in this game. Because if you're not careful, you'll end up getting hit twice by certain attacks. I got hit twice by the gargoyle's fire breath earlier today. Because I was standing in it, got hit by the first... Oh, I'm fucked. I got hit by the first instance, and then as my character recovered, I ended up getting hit by the second instance. So, that's something that doesn't happen in Monster Hunter, and I know I keep comparing it to Monster Hunter, but... Fuck, dude, I've played a lot of Monster Hunter recently. What can I say? We're actually doing some pretty good damage for this. I think it's mostly because of the magic weapon that's about to wear off. And I think the bellowing Dragon Crest ring actually does increase the damage of magic weapon. So that went a lot quicker than most of my other sorcerer runs do. Which is nice. I can use full control. Alright. Whee! And I could get the Lingering Dragon Crest now. Yes. If I wanted to. Oh, question is, do I want to? I really want to do like an int faith build at some point. There's going to be so many build videos when Dark Souls Remastered comes out. There really are. It's going to be so fun. But that is really just the moral of the story, isn't it? It's just like, I'm super excited for Dark Souls Remastered because it gives me another chance of playing a populated Dark Souls PvP, and it gives me a chance to actually play a Dark Souls PvP that I enjoy, other than, you know, Dark Souls 3, where I absolutely despise the PvP and honestly really don't enjoy the PvE that much anymore. Which is kind of juxtaposed to Dark Souls 2, where I really hate the PvE, and Scholar of the First Sin made things worse somehow for the most part. But the PvP looks incredible. And I really wanted to get into it, but I could never get into it because the PvE was just such a barrier to entry for me. Alright. It does say a lot, though, that I don't like Dark Souls 2 and I don't like Dark Souls 3, but I can still enjoy Dark Souls 1. Because at first you can think, well, maybe it's just like nostalgia goggles making it so you don't enjoy Dark Souls 2 and 3, and yeah, sure, like, that's a valid observation to make. But the thing is like, I can play them all in tandem and go, no, I just prefer Dark Souls 1. Like, I can go back and play Dark Souls 1 and be like, yeah, this is still better. I can play Dark Souls 2 even with an open mind and knowledge that actually it's not for me. Or what am I trying to say? I can play it with the knowledge that it's a different game and it plays very differently and all of that sort of good stuff, but I still hate it. I still don't enjoy it. And the same goes for Dark Souls 3. Like, I can play it even knowing that, like, yeah, it's a completely different beast. You have to respect it with different rules and that. Again, I still don't enjoy it, and I just realised that I did not kill Lautrec, so there's no fire link. Well. This might end up being a series. I don't know. I can't make any promises because every time I do make promises, I don't fucking fulfill them because I'm a fucking scumbag. I can't really promise. If it does become a series, then I can't really promise that it's going to be, like, in, how would you say, continuity? Is that the right word? Fucking chronological, that's it. I can't guarantee that it's going to be in chronological order. There might be some character building that you miss out on. I might play a different character, I might do this, that, and the other. So it's not really going to be a full playthrough, per se, but it might just be whenever I feel like playing some Dark Souls 1 and just rambling about it and all that sort of good stuff. I'll bring you guys along with me. Bring you down to hell. Force you to watch these, however long this fucking video has been going on for now. I remember when I used to really like the dingy set. Kind of gone off of it. I don't really like the little satchels that you have. I like the silvery, the coat. I think that's really awesome. But, yeah, the little satchels kind of get on my nerves. Whoops, there's the stairs. Can I wear this? Oh, I can wear this. Nice. Something slightly more fashionable. Tell me I can wear this as well. Fuck. I didn't pick up the bandit set. That's a shame. Should go grab that. I don't think it's particularly heavy. Ninja. Well, we made it to Undead Parish. I think I'm going to play some Fashion Souls and I might build this character out a bit more off screen. But apart from that, all I can say is thank you for watching this far. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I will catch you next time.